Hi folks, it's Isabel here. I've come on because I thought I'd just share with you some stuff that I've been doing, some of the things that have come into my collection in October. I feel like I've had quite a few bits in the last few weeks, but then I realised some of them were pre-orders and some of them were certainly unexpected. But I thought I'd share with you what I've been up to through October, and then I'll do another video at some point about kind of thoughts of decks I might start kind of working with for the next couple of weeks as well, because I quite enjoyed doing that at the start of October. So yeah, at the start of October I kind of sat down and decided, well, it was end of September really, I started thinking about kind of trying to have deck pairings. I shifted some of my stuff around so that I have my tarot card stand on my desk so that I could pull a card by where I'm working and have them in front of me. And that's kind of worked really well on the whole. It's meant that the cards are there. Unfortunately, I don't always get the chance to just sit quiet and do that, especially when as work's kind of picked up in a certain way. With the pandemic finishing and I've been on the road a bit more, it's meant that I haven't managed to do what I would have liked every day. So I've been a bit frustrated by that. But you know, it is what it is, and I've just got to kind of do what I can when I can and when I'm feeling in the mood for it as well. But what I've been using, I did say at the start of the month, I shared some of the decks I was going to be using. These are some of the cards here that I had on. I didn't even get a chance to pull today. But for Halloween, I thought this was lovely. I used the Halloween Tarot the last few days, and I pulled this, which I thought was a really cool card for Halloween, because it just sort of like, you know, all the sharing of the candy and everything was really cool. So yeah, so I've been using the Halloween Tarot and I've been using the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle the last few days. I haven't actually done as many card pulls as I wanted because we went away to London, and I'll say a bit more about that later. I found this one, I've saved it, I got it earlier in the year. I haven't used it because I wanted to save it for this time. I've actually found some of the cards quite dark, and interestingly, in contrast, although this is Halloween themed, it's got quite a light energy to it compared to this one. So it's been an interesting contrast. So some days they've worked really well, and then other days I've not been sure. So I have sort of clarified them sometimes with some playing cards. I got the Patrick Valenza Royal Mischief playing cards, and I've quite enjoyed sort of pulling those in as well. I had fun playing with lots of cards. Some people don't like that, but it's been quite good fun to try some different decks and pull some cards, so that's been really cool. I've had, this is from the White Hair Wisdom deck, pocket deck I've got, and in there's a set of cards for the different seasons. So this one's Samhain Transformation, so I switched out the last one and put this one in yesterday as well. So that's really cool. So yeah, so my Halloween Tarot, if you haven't seen, I've done a little video. My Halloween Tarot is housed in one of my new Kelly Bear pouches, which is really lovely. I'm absolutely loving having this sat on my desk. I don't tend to always wrap it up because I'm the kind of person that gets annoyed wrapping and unwrapping. But yeah, another thank you to Kelly for that. So that's been out. So I've been using that. I did have a few days on my Everyday Witch as well. I'm just going to move some of the rubbish to one side that I've had out. So I've been trying to do a bit more journaling. I'm not great at this, but I've been using kind of stickers I've got and things and sticking in and just trying to put stuff in when I can. So in September I started trying to do it a bit more. I don't mind people saying there's nothing too personal here. You know, this was a card I got when I got one of, I think it was Lunar Soul from Liminal 11. So at the end of September I brought in Wicker Moon and Native Spirit Oracle. But I wasn't like feeling those very well, so I switched those out, and at the start of October, I don't know if you can see this very well, I brought in Labyrinth Tarot and I was using my White Hair Wisdom. They were really cool. I was really enjoying those actually. It was interesting because the Labyrinth is very pippish, but it's trying to get my head around that, but it made me think a little bit more about what the wands or the different cards meant. So I used those for a few days. I had a look at my new moon, and what I kind of was fine for a bit. I did a tarot spread with the Everyday Witch. And when I did that, I started thinking about what I could balance with my Everyday Witch tarot, and I wasn't sure what I was going to use. I wanted to bring them into the balance, but I wasn't sure. And then I was a bit naughty and decided I needed to get my Everyday Witch Oracle, which I did. So I had a few days where I was clarifying with that. So here I moved on to the Everyday Witch Tarot, sort of in October. I'm also still following a Christian path as well. So I have an app that gives me a verse for the day, and it was amazing because, like, some days it all fitted together. So the cards and the verse were really cool. And then there was a big gap because this was a really busy week in work, so I didn't have any spreads. This was a really emotional time, and this is quite a big piece of writing for me. I lost my mum this time last year, and this was the anniversary of her passing. And what was interesting was I just hadn't had a chance to even think or breathe. We went out the day of her anniversary to meet with my family, with my brothers, and this feather was by the car. So I've put this in here because I just, that to me, that was kind of my, when feathers appear, loved ones are near. So yeah, so there's a few bits kind of going on, but October's been a bit of a manic month in work. I was really struggling with my grief as well, pulling some cards and stuff. Again, a few days without, so it just kind of went on. And then I decided the Everyday Witch was working really well for me, and it always does, but I fancied changing it up. So I brought in my Halloween tarot, so I was looking at that, trying to understand the different suits. But again, oh, apologies, I'm yawning a bit tonight. But again, I didn't really always get the chance. We went away to London. I did do one reading while we were away. I took my Halloween, my Samhain Oracle, and my playing cards with me, but I didn't really get a chance. We were just so busy for the few days we were there. I put these little stickers that Kelly gave me with my pouch in. So it's been a bit manic, but I've enjoyed sort of doing it. I've enjoyed sticking things in people have given me and recording cards. I mean, yesterday I got as far as writing down the cards, but not actually. Some days I write them down and I read about them, but I don't necessarily journal about them. And I kind of figure, well, that's fine, because I could always look back and go, well, you know, what, maybe there's a reason. So I've quite enjoyed sort of trying to do that, and I'm going to try and do a few more spreads. But it's one of those, you know, I am a mum, I'm a working mum, so this is kind of like a little thing that's supposed to be for me, and my mental health's not fantastic, so I'm trying not to let this perpetuate that. But anyway, so that's been really cool, and I've absolutely loved the cards I've been working with this month, and I think it worked really well to kind of give myself some ideas of decks that I wanted to play with in combinations. The only downside being I bought more, but hey, not a problem there. So alongside that, a few things that have come in or that I've been using. So one of the things I've used alongside some of my other resources, I keep meaning to do a video about this book, and I will try, but I picked this up a few weeks ago. So I have the Oracle, an Oracle that this lady did, and she's in the UK, and I saw a webinar thing with her, and basically I ordered the book after that. It's been quite a cool way of looking at the cards. So the way she looks at it is each of these is what's like a 10-minute, she calls it tea break, because basically it's like you can look at a card and just do a 10 minutes on it. And so what she does is she gives you kind of journaling prompts. So rather than just saying what it meant, it kind of challenges you to think about what your impressions are. So that was quite a nice way, especially for some of the cards where I was struggling. Okay, you know, I'd read the meaning or know what the meaning was, but I was struggling to actually think about what the impact was for me. So I've started using that a little bit when I do my readings. So I am going to try and work with that a little bit more, and hopefully at some point I'll be able to do more of a full video on that one. But it's quite a nice resource with some of the other resources I have. I also brought in this, which was one of those spontaneous eBay purchases. So this is the Fairies Oracle. And Froud, obviously, the artwork in the Labyrinth deck has a lot of association with Brian Froud because he did a lot of the characters. So I picked this up on eBay. So it's a little bit battered. I haven't had a lot of time. So what I want to do is really look at the book and stuff. What I have realised is, I don't know if you can hear, but the cards are rattling around like I don't know what. So I decided I needed a pouch for it. And when we were in London, in one of the little markets, I saw these really cute pouches. So I picked one of these up, but unfortunately it's just not quite big enough. So I'm going to use this. I'm thinking of putting my Trinity Tarot in here, because that needs a deck, because that's in a tuck box. I have this thing about housing tuck box decks, but at the moment that's still waiting. So we went to London for a few days, and this is something I brought back. It's just really pretty colours, and it's a nice little souvenir from being in London, but its purpose was to house this deck. Anyway, I've now ordered a different pouch for this, so when that comes I shall see how that goes. So this has come in, but I haven't really had a look at it yet, but I'm hoping to work. I might bring the Labyrinth back out and use it with that. I might also work with Forest of Enchantment, so I'm going to see what I can play with and what pairs with it. I like this pairing malarkey, you see. So that one's just tucked away for now. I had a Kickstarter come in, so I have done a video on this. So this is the Phantom Tarot. So this tarot is a really lovely, just basic kind of translation of the RWS, but they've actually got an augmented reality app to go alongside it. So I have done first impressions and walkthrough. Absolutely love this bag, so I'm just going to keep stroking this. I have done a first impressions and walkthrough of it, but I've not had a chance to look at it. So I'm thinking it's got kind of, I think it might be one I bring out in the next few weeks and have a go with the app. So watch out for that, because I'm hoping I can kind of do some kind of video. So then, as I say, we went down to London for a few days, and I managed to persuade my dear darling husband that we needed to go in some bookshops. My little boy loves crystals as well, so it didn't take much persuasion from the kids, and I bought a couple of bits, which was a bit naughty of me, but you know. So we went into Watkins Books, and we went to the Atlantis bookshop, and I saw some other crystal and other stalls when we went to one of the markets. Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of time in any of them, and I was very wary. I get very overwhelmed when it's busy, so a lot of the places we went, like, were in the market. They were really busy, there were a lot of people, and I just didn't want to spend a lot of time. When we went in Atlantis bookshop, we didn't have very much time before we were going somewhere else, and it just was too overwhelming. But we did have a little bit of time in Watkins, and while I was in there, I picked up a couple of bits. So this is Fortune Telling Using Playing Cards book by Jonathan D. It's one I was looking at online, and I wasn't going to get, because I thought, oh, I can get all the information about playing cards online, but when I saw it in the shop and it had 10% off, and I thought it'd be nice to support them, and I'd taken the playing cards away and I didn't have the paper, and I didn't want to print paper off and blah blah, so I picked this up. So I've got another book to get my teeth into, so adding that to the pile of things to look at. And then I bought a couple of decks. So what I picked up, and I haven't actually opened them yet, is the Sun and Moon in the Tin. I've been after a smaller tin deck for a while, and I've seen this one a few times and wondered about it, and it was just sat there on the shelf saying, buy me, buy me. So I did. I know that I could have bought it cheaper online, and I was quite surprised because there wasn't a price on it. I was a bit surprised when I went to the till at how much it was, but having said that, it's not easy to come by online. On eBay, it tends to be the box set, and they go really quickly. And it was nice to support an independent store, so I got this one. And then this one I am made up with, and this was like one that I saw very last minute. So I talked a couple of times in videos, sort of August, September, about Through the Eyes of the Soul, which is the oracle by Cheryl Yambach Rose, and I'd seen this oracle on a couple of other people's channels, so Hazel Jane and Candy Soul and Soil, I think possibly Sandra's as well, Whispering Well. I can't remember exactly, but I know Candy Soul and Soil's got it. And I'd looked at it, but it's really hard to find. It was going out of print. Now, it might be that it's being transferred to the same style as the Through the Eyes of the Soul, because I know that that's different to this. However, at the moment, it's quite hard to come by. And there, sat above the oracles, tucked away, was this. So I just picked it up and I had to have it because I bought the book that goes with her decks, and I've been following her online, and I really, really love. I got a lot out of the other deck, so I'm really excited to have this one. I'm really looking forward to using it and working with it. So this is this was a more thoughtful purchase, because this is definitely one that's been on my radar for a while. So yeah, so actually I ended up getting just the 2 decks. I ended up not getting anything like crystals for myself, but I did end up spending money on my kids, but hey, such is life. The only other thing that I'm actually really excited by. So a little while back I bought the Dreamcraft Tarot, and it was one that I wanted to play with sort of in the autumn. I got it's the small box. I got it, again, good price on eBay. But when I got it out to play with, I just found it too big and cumbersome, and realised that pretty much everybody who has a copy online has trimmed and modified it. So I have done my first deck mod, and I have absolutely loved it. It was really therapeutic. It gave me something to do while I was watching telly. It puzzled my husband something rotten, but that was really aside from it. And I've just finished edging them this evening, although I think I might do another coat. And also, I don't think I've done the best job in the world, but I'm really proud of my effort for my first deck mod. So here is my first ever modifying of a deck. So let me just zoom in, because I'm really proud of this. So I chose to cut it with scissors. I got some fairly sharp scissors that I knew would cut fairly straight, because I didn't want to use a sliding guillotine, and I didn't want to buy a lever one in case I didn't want to do any more. I chose to leave the titles on for now. That was my choice, but I have cut it right down, because when I left a little bit of border, I didn't like the backs. So I much prefer the backs now, because they're sort of fairly symmetrical. Whereas I think you couldn't, if you've ever seen it, you can cut it down just to a slight border here. I love this card. So I did that. I didn't cut it right in at the bottom, actually. I've left the tiniest little bit, but that's okay, because I think it balances with that. So I have left the titles on. I invested in the corner rounder that Dawn Michelle recommends, that Simon has got, that Kelly has got, and it was the best investment ever, and I'm looking forward to using it for more things. So it's a, let me just get it out. It's this Kadomaru Pro, so you can do 3 sizes. So there's a small, a medium and a large. So I tried on a bit of card and decided that the medium was the right size. And then I also looked back at videos, and Simon had used a Cocoa Promo marker, so I guessed I would get that as well. So I picked that up, and I've just finished edging it, and I am actually really pleased. There's one card that's got a slight kind of nick on it, which is a bit annoying. I'm not sure how that's happened. So I've got one card that's got ever such a slight catch on it, which is really frustrating. And I have got some bleeding, which I'm really annoyed about. But I'm not sure how else I would have done it. And actually, it kind of frames it a little bit. I didn't like the borders, but that little bit of colour. I think I might go over them again though, because at the moment it's not hugely dark, but I'll see. I'm going to let it sort of soak in a bit overnight and see how I go. But I'm so much happier now with the size. I couldn't shuffle them when I first got them. They were so cumbersome. And I'm just much happier now with doing that and really enjoyed it. And I definitely think it's something, if I've got cards that are not too expensive, I don't think I'd be brave enough to do it on like an indie deck or one that I spent a lot of money on. So but I'm actually very tempted. I'm sorely tempted to do something with my Halloween tarot, because although it fits nicely in the pouch, I'm not sure that I like the white borders. So I'm actually really tempted to take this down to the edge. The only thing is lining it up on the back. I haven't worked out yet whether the two lines, if this line here is the same as this one, then I'm definitely going to take it down, I think. And I'll small corner around it. It won't lose too much, I don't think, to do that. So I am now obsessed with modding some decks. But I'm very much, I don't like the white borders on this. I really don't. But I need to see if anyone's done the mod on this to decide. Anyway, I am now waffling. So this has been something I'm really pleased with this month. I've done this. So I'm going to leave it to dry off a little bit more. And then decide if I add some more colour to it at a later point. But yeah, so my October has been manic, and it's not likely to calm down anytime soon. I had a nice, exhausting break in London. I've bought some lovely bits and pieces. I've got my journals been running. I've made the camera shake, so I'm a nitwit. And yeah. So I'm going to have a look at my decks, have a think about what I want to do for the next couple of weeks, and probably come back with another rambling video to bore you all. But I do enjoy sharing it with you, and I hope you enjoy listening. And I'll be in touch again soon. But in the meantime, take care, folks, and bye-bye.